Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me today for another episode of Epic Surf News. And today I have Stephen back here for a board meeting style format. And we're going to be talking about some surf. Stephen, how's it going, brother?
Good, man. How you doing? Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, man. So I think the first thing we have to just start with, Stephen, is South Jetty, dude. I mean, you're like pretty much running that spot. What's going on over there?
Well, my goal in life is to be the drunken mayor of South Jetty, Philip, and I feel like I'm well on my way, and I'm just asking for more support out there in that endeavor of my life.
You know, actually, on that note, I was thinking the same thing. And so before we got together this morning, I was thinking about that shack in PV that they bulldozed down. And, I was thinking we need to actually lobby the city of Oceanside to erect a shack for you at the South Jetty, just for you.
No, I'm totally on board with that. In fact, when you go to Trestles, you'll see those little shacks that people have kind of built. And I was thinking we're just going to kind of erect it like that and kind of create our own Burning Man. So if there's no waves, we can sacrifice it. And if if we'll just rebuild it.
Yeah, just, you could have all those branches and things, and you could kind of just be peeking out there, checking the surf report.
Yeah, especially after all that wind, there's all kinds of palm fronds flying around everywhere. I mean, there's just like trees laying by the side of the road after those 50-mile-an-hour winds we had yesterday.
Yeah, I think there's some of my shingles actually that came off the house that I think we could use for the roofing on your shack.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We could have a little party house.
Yeah, that would be awesome, man. In fact, a lot of times I talk myself out of surfing because I look at Surfline and the conditions aren't right. So I pat myself on the back for not going. And then all of a sudden I look at your posts and you're showing firing waves at South Jetty. And I'm like, oh man, I'm freaking just being a little punk,
So the trick to that is you don't, like, for me, surfing is just part of my routine. Like, I just woke up, right? I just got out of bed. And then what I do is, you go to the bathroom, you drink coffee, you go to the bathroom again, you read the newspaper, and you just pop out and go surf. You don't think about it. You don't check a report. You don't look at any webcam. You just go surf. And then you go to work, and then your head's clear. You're motivated. You're feeling really groovy. It helps you sell cars. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is a trip how surfing can change or start your whole day or change the whole day from one moment to the next. And I'm with you on that coffee and using the restroom twice, man. I'm almost 50, so.
Yeah, it's like liquid plumber, and it helps you surf faster too, the more weight you lose in the morning.
So once you get fired up, man, and you're down there at the beach, what are you surfing these days? Like, what kind of board?
So I have two boards that I switch between. I like to ride, I've got Whitlock's boards, and then I still have Watermark that Oliver made me, and I still have some old Shawn Ambrose boards, but there's two primarily, and they're both the same dims. They're both 6.0 by 20 1/4, 2 5/8, but one has more rocker than the other. So if the waves got a little bit of barrel to them and they're a little more hollow, I'll take the one with more rocker. Or if it's like what we get 60% of the time, where it's kind of a little mushier and I want a flatter board to kind of make sections, then that's what I'm going to ride. But nice. Both the same size.
Nice, man. So shortboarding, that's like a mafia or something. Like, once you get into shortboarding, it's hard. I don't think you can ever get out of the mob.
Yeah, I think, the whole moving up in size, I'm waiting till I get really old for that. I'll be 55 in a couple months. Okay. And I think I got at least 10 more years of shortboarding left in me. And then, when I can't even stand up, then I'm going to be a belly boarder and I won't even care. But I'll still be getting wet every day.
Yeah, because things have changed. So I was a shortboarder my whole life. I mean, I still am, but I spent my whole life just like you, kind of. All my boards were pretty similar dims. Lately, I've been dabbling a little bit, and I got to say I've been motivated by the young guys out there with a lot of foam who have taken over the peak, and I have a hard time sitting over on the shoulder, man, or down inside. How do you do it? How do you navigate a small board with all the trend that's happening with the big boards and still get waves?
I think the key is you just got to freaking exercise your butt off, and then you got to eat healthy. So the older you get, you got to really start watching your diet. But then I think at the end of the day, you know, the trick is just to get out there and get wet. And if somebody else got a good wave, then sometimes I have more fun watching somebody else get a good wave and me cheering them on than me. You know, some days I'll get out there, I might only get 2 or 3 waves, but if I get one good one, I'm stoked on it and I go in and I'm all good for the day. So, you know what, there's no problem in sharing waves. There's no shame in, you know what, if you don't feel like catching a lot of waves, just be out there, commune with one another, make it your peaceful vibe for the day.
Dude, that's golden right there, man. There was another guy at the harbor who his motto is you catch more bees with honey than vinegar, you know, and so he just navigates through everything. And yeah, I think when you kind of, I guess if you don't think about or focus on it too much, you end up getting your waves. You know, they end up coming to you, the rotation, and like you said, I mean, I think for me, I'm always learning from everybody. I'm watching longboarders, shortboarders, even those guys on the mats. You know, I'm checking out how everybody's kind of moving around the ocean, and yeah, so it's always a good vibe. The parking lot is always a great vibe too, and yeah, so good to hear, man. So what maneuvers are you working on? So you're almost 55. You've been shortboarding a long time. That means you're arcing turns. You've been doing everything for a long time. So like, are there things right now that you're trying to like improve upon or fix? Where are you going?
I think my skill level is probably much going downhill straight from at this age. So I don't know if I'm trying to improve on anything. I think my body does not want to move through the air and leave the face of the wave. So for me, I really just love basic power surfing. For me, just a nice big turn, a carve, maybe get a little cover up, and I'm totally happy with that. I really hate watching people take a beautiful wave and try so many tricks that they always blow the wave. So it kind of frustrates me when I see that. So I'm kind of old school. I'm more 3 to the beach, get some nice turns, freaking get some good vibe going and get out there and get a few more. But I don't like to see too many tricks, to be honest.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm kind of in the middle. I was trying to learn new tricks, and then what end up happening, like you said, I ended up not completing waves, doing the splits a lot when I wasn't trying to do the splits, and now I got these old man hips. I feel like in the water, I kind of move around and loosen up, but on land, I kind of walk like a side to side old guy. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to kind of stick with the power surfing, like you're saying, completing waves. Yeah, that kind of thing is pretty cool. It's funny because I've been doing videos of people, and a lot of my friends, I get them surfing, and a lot of times they're doing great, and all of a sudden they cheese the end of the wave, right, on the video, and they're like, oh, you know, and so it's amazing. Like, I think when you're out there and you go for a big move, you're excited about it, and you don't realize, like, visually though, you know, it looks so much better when you're just linking up everything from start to finish on the wave. So yeah, well, hopefully I won't fall down in front of you the next time I see you.
Sometimes it's all about a couple wiggles and a check turn. That'll make your day. That's all you need.
Speaking about making your day, man, I noticed, well, I think I always notice driving by, but there's always some superstars down at the South Jetty. I mean, all in the area, but there's, you know, WSL, you know, top 32 or, you know, or QS guys. And I think last time I saw you in the parking lot or posting a picture, you were with Mikey Wright, I think.
That's right.
Did he headbutt you or what? I know those Aussies like to headbutt.
I was coaching him. I've been working on how we can overcome fear on big waves. And so he comes to me. I'm like a Zen master of how to handle gnarly conditions. So sometimes I just hold his hand and I pet his mullet, and I just have to, you know, get him over the fear of going over that big ledge. And so I'm kind of like the spiritual master of you see all those groms that are ripping, like, you know, the Katie Simmers of the world, Coral, the Lucas Ostens. Those guys, they all learned everything from me. They watch me, and I'm like the model. I'm the man there. So that's kind of my role. I'm like a fat, happy, drunk Buddha that inspires all the groms around me, and that's why they flock to our spot.
Every time I see Katie Simmer do a big arcing turn, dude, the first thing I think of is Stephen Back, dude.
That's what I'm talking about. I know.
on the webcast, if I'm calling it on the beach, I'm like, oh, look at that. She just pulled that out of the Stephen Beck playbook, dude. Just, oh yeah. So Katie Simmers, dude, Olympics, dude. You never would have thought that like all those freaking power hacks you were doing were actually going to lead to somebody making it to the Olympics one day.
Yeah, no, it's, you know what I think about when I first started surfing in 1983, I remember a guy walking up to me and going, hey dude, look over there. Look, there's a chick surfing. And I was like, no way, there's not, because girls didn't really surf back then. It was pretty much just us dudes in high school that started, right? Yeah. And I was like, no way. And I'm at Torrey Pines. I'm like, there's a girl over there, guys. Let's go look at this. It was like an oddity. And now like Sky Brown was at our spot a couple days ago. There's an 11-year-old, you know, throwing more airs and doing crazy stuff. And I've been surfing for almost 40 years. This kid's been surfing a couple years and already surfing, you know, rings around us guys. So it's like it's a whole new ball game, a whole new level than when I was growing up with it.
Yeah, I'm kind of like you, man. I feel like my board is glued to the surface of the wave. It's really hard to get off that thing. But yeah, I mean, the Groms are doing great. Katie Simmers, I mean, I think when I first saw her, I think from the first time I saw her, she was already surfing better than me. So she is really good. And like you said, I agree. Back in the day, there were hardly any women surfers. The ones that were surfing, they were pretty hardcore, and they were just as weathered as all the guys out there. And now, I mean, there's just a ton of girls out there surfing, which is actually pretty cool, man, because, you know, it gets old when you got all the guys and testosterone and everybody's barking and paddle battling. You know, so it's really kind of cool to kind of get a mix of things going on and personalities and learning to work with each other. You know, I know that a lot of women have had a hard time trying to get the set wave or trying to get out there and get waves, period. And so, you know, I try to share the waves if I can, or if I see somebody, or even Groms, if they want to come out to the outside peak and they want to, you know, get right where I'm at, hey man, go take it, Grom, go, you know, so.
Yeah, I'm a big follower of Alessia Quizon, and I'm constantly asking her to show up to my spot in those little bikini shots that she does. You know, she hasn't responded yet. It's been a couple years, but I'm pretty sure pretty soon she's going to show up and do a little photo shot just for me. But right now, you know, I'm still kind of waiting.
Yeah, well, I don't know if she's going to show up, but you know, her new boyfriend's probably going to show up.
I think he's a jiu-jitsu Brazilian dude too. I think he'll bust me in half.
Yeah, he's definitely MMA, jiu-jitsu. He's a Hawaiian guy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So you know, you'll get skunked in Hawaii, you know, and he hangs around with all the surf bros over there. He loves surfing, right? But yeah, he's a really top-notch guy. He's been winning a lot of fights. So yeah, I know. I used to think she was really beautiful too. I just don't talk about it online anymore. Yeah. So Stephen, man, you've been in Oceanside for a long time, right? You were Huntington before Oceanside, I think.
No, I was San Diego. I went to Mira Mesa High School.
Oh, okay.
I have family in Huntington, and then I've kind of lived everywhere. I've lived in Newport, San Clemente, but Oceanside's definitely my favorite.
Yeah, Oceanside's amazing, man. The waves are, I mean, yeah, they're kind of slower San Diego style, but they still have some juice. Seems like the beach breaks can line up sometimes like a brief, you know, in terms of going down the beach. And so, yeah, I think everything is really awesome around here. People are cool. So how long have you been in Oceanside?
Oceanside, probably 20 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a while, man. So what, I mean, there's all kinds of legends around town. There's all kinds of epic things, epic people. Who are some of the characters over the years that that stuck out to you around town?
Oh my God, there's so many characters here. That's like hard to name them, but the cool thing about Oceanside is that I think everybody's like really accepting. So like even 20 years ago when I kind of moved here and started surfing every day, to me the fun thing is here, like, you know, I surf every day, and now I'm pretty much mainly one spot, but I used to just travel all around, and Wisconsin Street used to be, that left barrel used to be insane like 10 years ago. And there's just so many good surfers and so many people that inspire me. Even people that like maybe they don't surf good, but they just got the best attitude. There's the guy that I forget his name right now, the guy missing his leg that always parks right in front at South Jetty. He's out there charging with just one leg. You got all the Groms. You got like John Daniels, who when he's training all these Groms to learn to rip, these kids, like I see them as just little kids, and then pretty soon, a couple years later, these guys are on tour, and that's like, you know, you got like Samantha Sibley was training there. Now she goes off and wins the Supergirls. You got like the ones I mentioned, but you know, there's just so many people. I think probably my most, if I had to pick one, it would be, well, two. Let's say Steve Quick and Alden Averill. So Alden has always had a kind of a bad leg, so he always has that like a drop knee style, and he's always out there charging on his lightning bolt boards. He just had a surgery on his back. I talked to him yesterday, but he is a true waterman, always out there charging no matter what. And nice. Steve Quick has Steve is like a 70s style surfer. He has this like almost kind of standing forward, like this 70s, just a Zen master. And he is like, anytime I see him, you know, we look at each other and we go, Steve O, putting the O in Oceanside. So it's just all about having like a group out in the water where we're all hooting and hollering for everybody. The great thing about our spot, I think, is, you know, we're rooting for everybody else. It's not one of those spots where everybody's gnarly and fighting over the peak and all that. So that's definitely my favorite thing. It's more like the whole vibe. It's not just a few people, you know?
Yeah. And that spreads like all through the harbor, I think. So, you know, I'm a little down the way hanging out probably with the more older crowd. So I'm definitely in that vibe with you, where some of my favorite surfers are not necessarily, you know, doing 12 o'clock in the lip, but I mean, they're just catching waves and having an amazing time. You know, they're having fun. I'm a great cheerleader. I mean, I think I lose my voice probably at least every week, because I'm like, you.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about right there, baby.
Yeah, I get fired up, dude. They get me more fired up, you know. Yeah, there's a bunch of guys over there, Jimmy, Bob, Rick, Mike, you know, all these guys who I think when newcomers come and they come out and they haven't surfed Oceanside or not very much, and you know, Oceanside's a tricky place because it seems easy, but sometimes it's a little hard to figure out. And next thing you know, you see them get frustrated on the inside, and they're just watching, you know, all the old timers go by. And yeah, it's cool, man. I think you have to just really love it, be part of it, and then it seems like the waves come. So yeah, man. So you mentioned, Whitlock, and you said Stamps, or who was your other board?
I have some Shawn Ambrose boards. So Shawn used to be my roommate back in 1983. He was my first roommate. We lived in PV together. Yeah. So I have a couple boards from him. And then Whitlock, I had Corey shape me a nice board, or actually his dad, Rusty. They both kind of collaborate. But there's so many great, like local shapers. There's so many people that I've known that I haven't even ridden their boards that I want to try and work my way around and ride everybody's board that I've seen over the years. It's, you know, we've become this town where it's like the valley now is kind of the mecca of board shaping. We got a skate park out there, and hopefully we'll be getting a little wave park soon. And I think we're kind of going to be like the coolest little ghetto town by the beach out of anywhere up in the state.
So I've been trying to follow up on the news on the Wavepool, and so it's slowed down, as you probably know. It's been stopped, and I'm actually about to check in again and find out where they're at. Last time they kind of said they were just working through some red tape stuff, but I really hope that comes through. I live up the valley, a little past the skate park, so the whole Shapers Alley. There's all kinds of shapers. You probably know Robin. Works down at the bait dock over there.
And Naomi, Robin and Naomi.
Yeah, so Robin started shaping recently too. You know, so it's funny. People are starting to kind of like just transition or learn how to shape, and he's got some really cool boards, man. The first couple boards he pulled out, I think were literally just blank, and he glassed them. I mean, he barely, and of course he made it look like it worked, right? Like he's surfing it so good. And now, I mean, he's got some really beautiful boards, and he's probably been pumping out a handful every month. So it's pretty cool.
Every time I see Robin, I always think like Robin, to me, I always thought he was like this homeless guy that like slept in the sand, and he'd like crawl out in the morning and he'd just like find somebody's board laying around, because he would always ride boards that were like, if it wasn't at least 20 years old, he wouldn't ride it. So I always thought he like rummaged through the trash at the harbor and found a surfboard. And then sometimes he paddles out and he has that rugged look about him. Like, I work at the bait shop. I sleep in the freaking dumpster here. You know what I mean? Pretty hardcore. He's a good guy.
Yeah. Super solid. Not a man of few words, but that's pretty cool. Yeah. So speaking about freaking coming up, dude, skate parks, wave pools. I'm not sure if you heard, but WSL, World Surf League, I looked on the site, they're planning, at least, who knows what's going on this year, but they're planning to hold a QS comp at North Jetty this year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's going to be in June if the world, moves that direction. But so, I was kind of like, wow, that's cool. And then I was like, oh, that's not cool. But like, because I get really stoked when all the, high profile people are hanging out on your side of the harbor, because then they don't bug us over here.
Yeah, no, I support surfing contests and giving up my spot for the weekend, as long as it's not every other weekend. Like, sometimes we'll hit a stretch where it's like, we got NSSA and then we got WSA, and then we got the Scholastic series, and then it's like every other weekend, and that gets to be a little too much. But I love competitive surfing. I love to watch it. I love to every time I've done it, I think I was probably the worst competitive surfer. I would always I was lucky to get a few rounds, and I always admire the people that would consistently win, and they just like had it in them that they would consistently just always get to the finals. So it's a great way to push yourself. I feel like when I competed, I felt like my surfing got a lot better, and I didn't even start competing until I was in my 40s. Yeah. And even though I was getting my butt kicked most of the time, I enjoyed the camaraderie, just the spirit of you got 15 minutes to get out there and put it down and try and, get a couple good ones. And before you know it, it was all over. And, but no, I totally dig it. I love watching competitive surfing. I think we are truly blessed just to be in the water every day. And I have more fun watching other people, exceed and excel at it. And that's like you said, being a cheerleader. I think I'm definitely probably the biggest cheerleader of surfing out there.
Yeah, nice, man. They have a lot of contests on your side of the harbor, so I definitely am excited that they're over there. But then what happens is that everybody comes over, right? So then we all get pushed into one area. So yeah, but on the other side of it, like you said, I'm a fan of competitive surfing. I'm a student, so it's funny, when I was growing up, I used to hate contests. I'd go the other direction, right? Or I'd show up, because they didn't have surf reports and things back then very much. So you'd show up ready to surf a spot, and there was a comp, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm not surfing this place today, right? So fast forward, and last 10 years plus, I've just been going to contests, watching them, videoing, and really just like, because it's cool, like when it's a spot you surf, because you get to see how other people are surfing your spot, right? And so, man, I'm just a student watching what they're doing, where they're paddling out, where they're taking off, how they're reading the line. I think that has improved my surfing by just being appreciative and paying attention to that.
Some of the things, like when there's contests going on, my little trick is, and I used to just surf middles pretty much religiously every day. And the contest, the end zone was always right at my spot. And so I would sit right on the flag, right where the lifeguards are almost ready to holler at you to move. But if you sit right on the flag and you go left, nobody sits like right at the edge of the contest. So even though there'd be all this contest going on, I'd still be getting waves, but I'd have more fun watching these guys come at me. And it's funny how, over the years, I've got to surf with many great top pros, Tom Curran, probably, one of my all-time idols, growing up, and even some of the new Brazilians. And then, of course, all the locals. Like yesterday, we had Tanner Gudauskas down there, because now he lives here.
Yeah.
We had, what's his face from Weird Waves, Dylan Graves.
Dylan Graves. Yeah.
And those guys were killing it. Those two guys were just out there all by themselves because, you know, after we had this huge storm, big waves, funky. And it's fun, you know, they'll both kind of sit there and chat with us in the parking lot and shoot the shit. And, you know, to me, that inspires me too.
Yeah, I've seen those guys at the harbor, and I surf up in Orange County a little bit too. It's another secret spot over there that they tend to go to, and they're just super awesome vibes. I mean, they're positive vibe warriors, but they really are pretty cool in the water. Anytime I see pros, I'm kind of like, oh man, am I going to be able to get waves? Are they going to dominate? You know, and those guys are super awesome. They rotate, they take their turn. They like to watch you surf too. And yeah, super good vibes. Stoked that, yeah, they're in Oceanside now. The finals for CT going to be at Trestles, turns out too, if they have that as well.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's going to be yeah, that'll be all time, man. So I'm excited.
That's my favorite contest. Every year we've got something at Trestles, I'm always there. It's always such a small crowd. Everybody, you know, when you're sitting there pretty much almost on the sand or on the rocks, you're surrounded by all the top surfers are just kind of sitting around you if they're not up in the benches. And
Right.
It's such a good vibe. It's such a beautiful place.
Yeah, you go, like, if you're at Huntington at the US Open, I mean, it's like a full Hollywood scene and barricades and tents. And the Trestles one's gotten bigger too, but like you said, it's like any other day at Lowers. You're just down there cruising, hanging out. If you go down there, anybody, definitely bring some sunblock, a hat, an umbrella, a sandwich, some grapes, because you will get baked down there, and it's a long walk back to anywhere you want to get to. So yeah, on the note of competition, Stephen, I also started doing some in my mid 40s, and I got skunked every time, bro. So, you know, I learned though. I feel like I learned, and that goes back to that, you know, completing waves, wave choice. But yeah, I got skunked every time. I had fun though. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, you feel kind of like special when you get your name called first, you know, when they're calling the heat. Because obviously the first one get their name called, it means you were last place. So I would get my name called many times. And the only time I ever won a first place trophy in SSA was during the 2014-15 season when we had those back-to-back hurricane swells down, and it was at Crystal Pier in PV, which is like, it was like huge and walled out. The water was just moving sideways. You could barely paddle out. And as soon as you got to the outside zone, you were pretty much, because of the current, you would be out of the flags. Mm-hmm. So my only first place trophy I ever got was pretty much by default, because Rockin' Fig was like 10 minutes late to the heat. I saw him running down the stairs. So it was only me and one other guy, and I was the only one to catch a wave. So I won a first place trophy with a 2.0 total heat score just by getting to my feet. And boy, that was the proudest moment of my life. 2.0 heat score.
Against the Fig. Against the Fig?
Yeah, the fixture was late. He got stuck in Huntington Beach traffic coming down.
Nice, dude. Yeah, I used to live a couple blocks from his shop back in the day in Huntington. And so, yeah, dude, super cool. Super rootsy surf shop. But yeah, he's a strong surfer too. So yeah, that was a good win, dude. I would take it, dude. I would, yeah.
I repost that trophy picture every year religiously on Facebook when the annual comes up, just to remind people I beat Fig, even though he didn't get a wave.
Yeah. Oh, dude, man, I would make a T-shirt or something, you know, like of the trophy and I beat Fig. And
well, remember I had the trophy on my car. Remember my gold Hyundai Elantra?
Wait, but somebody
1997 Elantra. Remember I glued that trophy to my hood, but somebody stole it from South Jetty. And if I find you, the person that stole my little trophy off of my car, I'm coming after you. You're in big trouble, man.
Dude, I'm gonna get that pic. I'm gonna put it up here too, man. So everybody, man, if you see this trophy out in the world, dude, just Rat Pack that full. I can't.
Yeah, I'll put another missing persons report. It's a little gold guy getting a barrel. You know, it's the top. Everybody knows, but yeah, I just glued that sucker right on because I wanted everybody to know that I had one.
Oh, dude, that thing was awesome. I remember that. Somebody's probably rocking it on a big gold chain right now, dude. Just
they're bragging at parties right now. I know it. I know you're out there.
That sucks. That sucks so bad. Well, right on, brother, man. It was so good to fucking get with you on this Dawn Patrol board meeting. You gonna go out there and get some waves today, or what you doing today?
I'm going out right now as soon as I hang up.
Cool, man. Well, I'm gonna
Yeah,
let you go
I'll be at South Jetty if anybody wants to come say hi.
Nice, man. Well, I'm gonna let you go get some waves, Stephen. And man, it was good chatting with you. And hopefully we'll get to surf and get in the water sometime together too.
You.
Yeah, everybody.